2024, August 8th to the 11th here at the Guyana National Stadium. Tonight I have with me the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Natural Resources, Mr. Vishal. It's a pleasure to have him on our feature. Tonight we are going to learn so much about natural resource. I think when we mention natural resource or persons here at Mr. Vishal, the first thing comes to mind, oh, that's the richest ministry. But first I want to say welcome to our feature.
Thank you very much for having us. And yes, we get that a lot from the time people hear Ministry of Natural Resources. The first thing they think is that that is a ministry with all the money, but it's quite the opposite actually, because we are the agency that brings in the largest sums of money to this country, but all the other ministries get to enjoy the pleasure of spending it for the development of our people.
For those persons who don't really know what the Ministry of Natural Resources is all about and its aim, can you just give a brief history on that?
All right, so the Ministry of Natural Resources was established in 2011, December I think. All right, and its main objectives was to develop, implement, and oversee policies geared toward ensuring that responsible extraction of our resources was done, bearing in mind that we take our environment into perspective. All right, we have three agencies that come under the Ministry of Natural Resources. That is the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, the Guyana Gold Board, and the Guyana Forestry Commission. All right, we also now have petroleum, of course, of which we are enjoying an economic boom. All right, so apart from that, we have a very hard-working team at the Ministry of Natural Resources that comprises of young and experienced individuals working under the stewardship of Minister Vikram Bharat. And they're working tirelessly every day to realize the vision of President Irfan Ali. Right? As you know, we are experiencing right now a transformational change in Guyana. Right? And we are not only participating in ensuring that the policies that the Ministry of Natural Resources implement, that they're done in a manner with consideration for the environment and with the biggest profit margins that we can get, but also we are engaging and educating the citizens of Guyana as to how they can benefit from the natural resource sector. So, like I was saying, at the Ministry of Natural Resources, we have three agencies, GGMC, GGB, and the Guyana Forestry Commission. And each one of them has specific programs that are geared towards educating young people as to how they can actually benefit from the sector. So, at our booth here tonight, you will see the mining school, you'll see Guyana Gold Board, you'll see GGMC, you'll see the Forestry Commission. And let me tell you about some of the programs that they offer. So at the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, under them they have the mining school. And at the mining school, presently there are a number of programs that are educating persons who want to get into the mining sector, whether as a ranger, whether as a miner, how to use the devices in the mining fields and so on. And there are specific courses towards that. But quite recently, we started a program about 2 years ago, the jewelry making program, which we've seen over 150 participants coming on board, where they're trained to utilize our resources, our precious and semi-precious stones and minerals such as gold, to make and fashion and design jewelry. Some of them who would have completed the course already are employed with jewelers right here in Guyana. All right. Apart from that, we have at the Forestry Commission, we have a joinery training center, which comes under the Forestry Training Center, right? Where young people are trained to make furniture, right? We've seen quite a number, and these initiatives that we would have thrown out are benefiting mostly Amerindian communities.
A lot of persons don't know about this.
Right. In addition to all that I've just said there, we presently have a YNR program, that is the Youth and Natural Resource Program, where over the last 3 years, we've seen over 300 persons participating in this program. And this is geared towards educating young people as to what is being done in the Ministry of Natural Resources. So they come on board and they get to experience what the employees at the Ministry of Natural Resources do, whether it's in the forestry sector or it's in the mining sector. They come, they experience, they get to visit the fields, they get to visit the forests, they get to identify the various species of wood, right? So it's quite interactive for them, all right? And all of this is geared towards guiding them to selecting an appropriate career path, all right? And this is all initiatives that we are using to guide these young people to capitalize on what is to come beyond 2025. You know, power is going to be cheaper, right? Whether they want to work within the Ministry of Natural Resources or one of the agencies that come under us as an entrepreneur or even as a policy maker, right? So they can come on board and participate in that. All right, and like I've been telling many of the YNR participants, there's no better time in Guyana than now to be young.
So there are several departments here. We'll be talking with some of the staff to get a little bit more in depth as to what these departments, you know, are offering or what they're all about.
Yeah, definitely, and I want to welcome you. Feel free to interact with the staff. They're here to share their insights and their knowledge in the agencies that they are responsible for. And of course, the program heads for those various programs that I just spoke of, the joinery program and the jewelry making program, they're also here. In addition to that, we also have the Local Content Secretariat is represented here, and that is a big, big deal for Guyanese. This, if you want to know how you can benefit as a Guyanese from the oil and gas sector, this is a place to be. They will take you through step by step what are the requirements, what are the do's and don'ts, and how you can get the local content certificate so you could actively participate, engage, and benefit from the oil and gas boom.
Mr. Vishal, before we go, what has been the response persons visiting the natural resource booth? What are some of the questions persons been asking, or what are some of the wows from them?
So we've only been open for about half an hour now, right? And we are seeing a steady influx of people, right? So one of the things that we have on display here is the lesser known species of wood that is being used in Guyana. You know, a lot of time people tend to think that green heart is the only type of wood that can be used in whatever they're doing, especially if it's for outdoor use. But we're here today and we have a number of different species that can be used outdoor, a number of decorative species that can compete with many of the other wood, including pine or any other wood anywhere around the world. You know, so that is the wow factor here. The wow factor is that a lot of people did not know that there are other species of wood that can actually be used as substitute for green heart, purple heart, and some of the other species that they regularly use.
That's news for me. Before we go, International Building Expo is one of the largest expo in the Caribbean. In your own words, Building Expo, why is it so important?
Well, Guyana is on the eyes of everybody around the world. All right? And over the years, especially the last 3 years, we've seen a growing interest. I think this year the expo has over 500 participants. That by itself speaks volume of the returns that the businesses, the ministries, and all of the stakeholders here, the response that they get after these expos. That in itself speaks. So I don't think that I should be telling you what I think. You take a walk around here, you speak to the people, you'll speak to some of the pedestrians, the persons who are coming through here, right? The visitors that we're having, and they'll be able to tell you, right? One of the biggest thing for me here at the Ministry of Natural Resources is the fact that we get the opportunity to present and educate the public about simple things that can sometimes be misleading if they read it on a social media platform, or if they read it in some blog somewhere, right? So we get to straighten out separate the fact from the fiction.
Before we go, last words and also tell our viewers how pleased the Ministry of Natural Resource is to be part of International Building Expo.
Like I just said, we are very pleased to be here because we right now we have the opportunity to correct some of the misconceptions out there. So that by itself, we are very glad that we are given that opportunity to do that. The Building Expo is one of the expos that Guyanese look forward to every year. Particularly, you get some good deals out here, I'm told, from some of the local businesses. All right, and I'd like to take the opportunity to encourage those people sitting at home, come on out to the expo, come to the Ministry of Natural Resource booth, come visit our booth, get educated. You may even have the opportunity to win a sample of the oil that was extracted.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.